Scott on Twitter says, "Hey, Rod, I haven't heard the term bunny hug since I played one season with the Humboldt Broncos in 1985. True Saskatchewan term." Thank you. Munz knows those terms. Let's get Munz on our screen. Longtime Winnipeg Jets broadcaster with us now of Gulf, Manitoba. How you doing, Munz?
Bunny hug, Vico. What else is there? There's 3 or 4 things that always seem to catch people's attention.
Can we get the Saskatchewan terms from our viewers, please? From you people. Darren, can you think of any?
I'll work on
there
it.
are some. It's going to take a while. I'm sorry to put you on the spot, Munz, but we'll come up with them between the two of us here.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, let's start with a big one. I'm not even a Habs fan. I'm just trolling today. What's your take on Game 7 tonight?
Well, it's curious because obviously, even here in Winnipeg, everybody's waiting with bated breath to find out who the Jets will play in round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So there's some curiosity when you look at both sides. I know he hasn't played a lot, but Adam Brooks is from Winnipeg, and he's a Toronto Maple Leaf that has filled in well in the lineup. And there's Leaf fans everywhere. And then you look at the fact that former Jet Ben Sherratt's a big part of that Montreal blue line. And when you've got Carey Price, who's arguably one of the top 3 netminders in the National Hockey League in net, it creates for some very much water cooler conversation, socially distanced, of course, right now here in the city of Winnipeg to find out who the Jets will play starting Wednesday night.
It's a good question has just come in from John in Winnipeg. Munz, who do you want the Jets to play? Toronto or Montreal?
That was coming.
Yeah. What do you think about that one?
Well, I don't know, to be honest with you, just based on the fact that, we mentioned Carey Price. Like, when he turns it up in the Stanley Cup playoffs, he's much like Connor Hellebuck. All of a sudden, when things aren't going right, he can flip that switch and you're not going to beat him. So it's tough to say you want to pick your poison because Jack Campbell's been really good with Toronto as well. But I think you want to avoid Carey Price in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
And we're seeing that. Yeah, tonight, one-game showdown. By the way, Kelly Bale writing in, he says, gotch, Saskatchewan term. Taking the grids. Taking the grids would be another one. Keep them coming.
The grid road.
The grid road, yeah. Yeah, RCMP, GRC. You know, GRC, it says on the RCMP. Do you know what that stands for? Grid Road Cops.
French,
right?
Isn't it?
Yeah, it stands for Grid Road Cops. That's what it's stuff.
I've heard that one before.
It says Gendarme Royal Canadien. That's what it's supposed to stand for. But here in Saskatchewan, it's GRC, Grid Road Cops. Yeah. Sorry to get off track here. Nah, not that sorry.
Learned something new today. Brand new week. Look at that.
Yeah. Are we done with this series and moving on, or do you have any other thoughts? Let me ask you this. How big are you on momentum, like this wave that Montreal's on? Did they just ride it right out to win tonight, do you think, or is every game an individual entity?
Yeah, I don't take a lot into the momentum side of it, but I think there is something to playing good and consistent hockey at the right time of the year. There was so many people going into the Edmonton series here where the Jets had lost 9 of 10 games or whatever it was. Well, when they got rolling, if you want to look at the other side, they ended up winning 3 of 5 and I think 4 of 6 or 4 of 7. So they started to get their game going at the right direction, and Edmonton went the wrong way, other than Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and Darnell Nurse. They just didn't have a total team buy-in at the right time, and they eventually got swept by a club that was playing some really consistent hockey. So, yeah, I think at playoff time, I don't really know if I would say there's momentum, but I think there is a club that feels good about themselves at a very important time of the year, which obviously Winnipeg did when things got going for real.
A lot of Golden Knights fans in Manitoba. I think over half the teams from there, as you well know. So what's the take this morning on the 7-1 spank job they got at the hands of Colorado last night? A lot of people here writing off the Golden Knights already, and clearly we're not. But what did you think of how that went down?
Well, it was quite the game. I was excited to watch it. Obviously, my ties with Jared Bednar, the Avalanche head coach, and then obviously, as you allude to, we do know half the organization here because they come from Manitoba with the Vegas Golden Knights. The only disappointing part, and I had somebody say this to me yesterday when I took my son out golfing, was it's too bad it's round 2 that arguably the top 2 teams in the Western Conference are playing right now, and it's not the next round. But you got to win 4 rounds to get there, so no matter who you beat, it doesn't really matter to win a Stanley Cup. But overall, I was a little bit surprised that the game did go off the rails as quick as it did last night. But to me, that also just shows how good Colorado is. And I think you could make an argument, and this is probably a conversation for you and a show like this for the next week. If you were starting a team, would you take Connor McDavid or would you take Nathan MacKinnon? Because I think there's both sides of the fence to argue with right there. And for me, I've had this conversation in the last couple of days, even before what Nathan was able to do in last night's game, and especially that sixth goal. You could just see when he started going at center ice, all of a sudden Vegas was like, uh-oh. And it was in the back of the net, and Robin Leonard had no chance on it whatsoever. So I think Colorado's going to win the series. I think they're a deeper team overall, but in no way is this thing going to go 4 games.
Well, I just caught the defenseman flat-footed. Last night, McKinnon looked like the best player in the National Hockey League, and it's not close. Yeah. Just last night, he looked that good. But this is the playoffs, whereby it's an entirely new season. Again, the Golden Knights and Habs tied in the regular year. The Golden Knights, I don't feel, are done yet. But look at the Winnipeg Jets, man. If this was just an extension of the regular season, they'd be golfing right now, not the Oilers. Let's talk about the Jets. Where did they flip the switch come playoff time?
Well, I think, first of all, Roddy, they got healthy, right? They got Nikolai Ehlers and Pierre-Luc Dubois back into the lineup, which was huge for them. And then they didn't really rest players going into the Stanley Cup playoffs because everybody wanted to play. And not knowing exactly how the schedule would work out, Paul Maurice thought it was important to keep players kind of up and running. And then, I think more on the outside of the city than on the inside was the talk about the slump that they were in. Yeah, people were disappointed that they weren't winning a lot of games, but kind of a week out before their 56th game was played, they started to get things going. And, it was well documented. The coach sat Mark Scheifele for about half a game, about 2 weeks out. And that kind of caught everybody's attention that, okay, they need to play the right way if they want to have success at the most important time of the year. So players bought into what Paul Maurice was talking about. And all of a sudden now, we'll see if they can carry what they were able to do in that first round against Edmonton into this next series this week against either Montreal or Toronto, with having pretty much a full 7 or 8 days off with only practice time and being able to get themselves ready here for round 2.
Trevor in Winnipeg's watching. He says the Jets beat Vegas like 6-1 in the first game in 2018. Vegas then won 4 straight. So, yeah, slight apples and oranges, but I certainly get what Trevor's saying here. You mentioned you had Jack out golfing. Was it yesterday?
Yeah. We're in a
game?
different spot, obviously. You know what? It's been fun. He shot a legitimate 123 yesterday. Lost 3 balls, and for a 10-year-old, that's pretty good. Doesn't really have much touch from about 60 yards in, so instead of hitting the green, it probably takes him 2 or 3 to get it to where he wants to around the pin, but it's fun. You know what? I think any parent that has a chance to go out and do that right now, we're in a different spot where you guys are. Everything's locked down here right now. I've been following on social media what the Premier and what you guys have been able to do in my home province, and you guys are kind of going this way, and we're on a bit of a holding pattern right now. So, you can't golf with anybody outside your own household. You can't have people over. Stores are locked down. So we'll see how things go here for the next couple of weeks and hopefully get to, where you guys are right now and get the curve bent back in the right direction here.
Yes, we've been very fortunate, and golf is alive and well in this province. There's no doubt about that. Brian, you asked me to mention the Humboldt Broncos Memorial Golf Tournament coming up at the Humboldt Golf Club. What can you tell our viewers about it?
Yeah, thanks for the time real quick on that. So registration is coming up tomorrow morning for the general public. Jared Bednar and Lori Warford and I have put this on now for the last 4 years. It's hard to believe it's been 4 years now since the accident, or 4 tournaments that happened back in 2018. So our sponsorship has been tremendous to everybody that has continued on with us. They've had the last month or so. The Bronco families from 2018 have all got their teams in ready to go. So for Friday and Saturday, August 13th and 14th, the rest of our tee sheet is now available for you. So at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, phone lines will be open. You can call the Humboldt Golf Club, 682-2833. It's amazing how you remember the phone numbers from your youth, right? Like, I couldn't tell you, Roddy, what your phone number is, but I can remember from being in high school in Humboldt that that's what the golf course phone number is now. And phone in, let us know when you want to play. It's $80 per person. We've got a tea gift. We've got lunch that includes your cart and your green fees. And, of course, all proceeds, again, will go to the Humboldt Broncos Legacy Awards. So we're looking forward in August when we get a little bit further down the calendar here to have a great event in Humboldt again.
Good for you for doing that. 682-2833. Have I got that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was also your babysitter's number. That's where you went. Your parents always knew where you were.
That's right.
At the Humboldt Golf Club.
Absolutely.
Anything else, Munzy, before we let you go?
No, you know what? I think that's just that's where we are on the calendar right now. And to be honest with you, as we look at things here today, Jared and I can't even quite get there yet because the provincial borders are closed and he's obviously busy in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But by the time we get to August, hopefully there's a little bit more normalcy. But we understand and we hope that it's going to fill up quick like it has for the last 3 years. So we're excited about it. And we're also going to have an online auction. We're not going to have anything before or after the event this year. We just want to do it right and keep people safe here in 2021. And then obviously we'll have the big event in 2022 that we had planned last year with the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League Hall of Fame announcement, as well as the Hunter Brothers concert that'll be coming up on the driving range. So that'll come up next year. This year, we're just going to have a nice little fun tournament for everybody and slowly get back to the norm. So appreciate the time on that for sure.
Wonderful, Munzy. Great job as always. Keep in touch. Let's do it again soon.
Sounds good, Roddy. Take care. See you, Darren. Have a great week.
There you go. Brian Munz joining us from Winnipeg with a lot of info there.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.